And we're going to continue with the book on Lech Lecha. So we're in the second volume of the text. The first page, Aleph, for Parshat Lech Lecha.
It's funny because you just said the Noach thing, and here's the first example we had Lech Lecha. I mean, Lech Lecha.
We start with the word Vayomer with a mahapach. A mahapach, if you're going to notice, underneath the word, there is also the reading note. The reading note, that shape, is something that we have defined before as telling us that you're going to take something that was a more general topic and you're going to focus it into a more narrow and more specific interpretation through this word. So if you'll notice that beside each word there is a number and an English try to direct translation. And what we're going to be doing is each word is not necessarily connected to the word next to it, but rather stands on its own as a paragraph because it was assigned its own reading note. So Vayomer, and he said, has the concept of what a mapach is that it's going to take something from before and focus it more narrowly into a more condensed topic. So we look down now below to number 1. And we're going to read that commentary on why we think this is together. Hashem saw in Abraham a reliable personality to introduce the true belief and heavenly teaching, and he said to him to follow the advice from above, as indicated by the shape of the reading mark. So Abraham, who has had less direct nevuah before, is now getting more direct attention, and it is going to bring him more into focus as the leader and the person that he can be. Separate from the comments that we see that are directly related to the note, we're also going to have side remarks, and that's what we have after here. And B, also at creation, or in the case of Noach, each saying, Amurah of God, had an epochal meaning. So when we're when we use the word Vayomer at the beginning of a parsha, especially, we're going to introduce a different age of the world, if you will, a different era, and that is part of what this Vayomer is there to do.
Well, not every time it says Vayomer, you're saying.
At the beginning of a parsha.
No.
Hashem with a pashta. A pashta, if you'll notice again the note on top of the second word, is something that gives importance to the world and to the word, and mostly pushes us forward into what's going to come after it. Pashta always appears on the last letter of the word. If that is not the accented syllable, then we'll probably see later on that you're going to have, in fact, 2 pashtaot. You're going to have the note doubled with one at the end of the word where the note naturally sits, and a second one on the accented syllable. And again, this tells us that a pashta is something that is going to take the meaning of that word and push it forward to connect it with what comes after it. Number 2, so the instruction given to Abraham was cardinal. Based on the kindness and mercy of God, Hashem, instead of the harsh form Elohim, as shown by the directional shape of the reading mark. Sorry, Alan?
Oh, that's a typo, right? It says from. You said form, right?
Yes, it should say form.
Right.
I've done the proper dyslexic translation.
Yes, so you automatic.
So we're going to number 1 say that we're dealing here with the aspect of mercy, not the aspect of judgment. And not only that, the aspect of mercy is going to move forward from here in connection to what comes after this, to Avram. El Avram, with a katon. A katon on top of the resh there is a 2-dot note, 1 dot on top of the other. So when we see this note attached to a word, we say that there is probably more than one meaning that's being imposed on this word, and possibly one sense that is higher than the other. Number 3, the heavenly message was aimed directly to Avram, who was qualified for the privilege, similar to Moses, as pointed out by the bipartite shape of the reading room. So this is a specific choice that God is making, that he is appearing to Avram and taking his potential, his lower part, and elevating it by giving it connection. So that is why we have a two-part shape here, that this is somebody who is directly chosen in order to fulfill a higher purpose. Lech Lecha. So you'll notice both in the previous one and in this one we've got two words connected by a dash, and that's because those two words have only one note that's assigned to them, so therefore we treat them as a group. We treat that concept as we're going to take that word phrase and we have to lump it together and we have to give it meaning.
Is that a mapach under there? I can't even see it.
It's a tvir.
It's a tvir, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe just say the letters on the note because I can't even see.
These ones are
So
clear.
when you look at the way that he's translated it into English, what he's done is, if you'll notice, there's sort of that equal sign, and that equal sign is going to tell us that the first word, lech, has that first meaning, advance, and lecha, because it has more than one, in order to translate it properly into English, needs more than one word. You're going to see 4-U. So that is the phrase that lecha is being translated at. But we've separated out what the Hebrew two words are by that equal sign, and if English needs more than one word, we've separated out with a single dash. So you got the concept of what he's done there. Advance for you. Number 4. Advance for you to achieve.
Number 1, say what a tevir is.
The note underneath it is a tevir. A tevir is A. Do I have it backwards? I have it backwards.
No.
You got it.
Okay, I'm working on the camera. I don't know. So a tevir is the idea of something being sheltered by something else. You have a dot with a mercha underneath it, a dot with something that's being sheltered, and we're going to say whenever we see a tevir that we've got some sense of something being sheltered or nurtured.
No, did we ever say tevir is related to Hartavor and belly button and all that?
We tried to, and we couldn't definitely say that that's what it was.
Because we didn't know the spelling of Hartavor.
But it certainly looks like that.
Right. So did we ever establish that Tabor is with a tet or a tav?
I did not look it up.
But tevir is what? A tav.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Maybe you would know because you were in Heart of War.
Yes.
Or a belly button. Is it with a tet or a tav?
It's with a top.
Oh.
Okay.
That's good.
It fits.
Perfect.
And it represents something like this, an algae. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because it's the plain from far away, and you see the hill.
You're talking about Heart of War now.
Bulging like.
Mm-hmm.
It's an algae. No, that's just okay. What do you do with all the belly buttons that are in Eve? Okay. Because originally a belly button, it starts from the beginning. With the embryo,
it's okay. We're trying to relate it to a concept, so it's
all this stupid camera, but okay.
It's not the stupid camera.
No, because they get very tense with the camera.
Okay. Well, I've told them that what you're saying is relevant.
Good. Well, I have to hear it from you before I get the endorsement. Okay, but okay, good. I'm happy with that answer.
All right, we're going to go on. Number 4, advance for you to achieve your own style of life. Your moving shall change your position from obedience to leadership, as stressed by the shape of the reading mark. So Avram's position is now going to go from one of a person who had a duty to his father to one who is going to be somebody who is an influence on others. So he is going to have the comfort and stability of working from a position of authority, a position of strength, and that is going to be his refuge, his comfort.
So,
And we have another side note here, NB. Lech Lecha, go for you. Rashi explains for your pleasure and your benefit, but is it full pleasure for a man to sever completely his ties with the past and give up all connections with friends, environment, etc.? So here we see that I think we're waxing into comments on his own life here. You know, we're waxing on somebody who really had to leave Europe because of tragedy there, and the question becomes, you know, when Rashi says Lech Lecha L'tovatcha, is this in fact something that people would interpret as something that is in fact good for you? Despite his deep belief in God, did Avram not have some deep reservations which curved the fullness of his joy?
well, he had already left the Haran. I mean, already left
Okay, and
first place.
he is going out of each sphere, each circle that is closer to his connection to who he originally was,
Right.
in order to become the influencer who he has to be.
And I think it's fair to say also, each time you leave, as you get older and more tired, like, again, you know, you do it the first time, okay, Mela, you look forward to it, but the third time, it's like, oh, really? Gotta pack again? Move again? Start again? Yeah.
Well, they're going to kill him. I mean, they have no choice.
So he went to Haran to be freed from all that. Now Kadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, now you come to good, pack up and you're moving again. It's like, really?
So
And then he does it again in Mitzrayim. His trials are not over yet.
to emphasize his point, what we do here is we're going to bring some of the other commentators who seem to disagree with what Rashi says, that leaving is in fact l'tovatcha, the Ramban, and other commentators of the opinion that this expression is a form of a linguistic rule, mishpat halashon, hageshem halachlo, the rain stopped and went for him. Can rain go for its pleasure and benefit? So the question is, Abraham's going, is it in fact something that is pleasuresome to him, or something that he has to do? Something that he, in an almost angelic sense, once the command is there, he can't escape it. But the actual meaning of this quotation is, the rain stopped and went away after completing its purpose. It is my opinion that the Ramban is correct. So,
The Ramban was also a refugee.
In the mind and natural history of interpreters, and in fact of Nevi'im, we will often see their own character imposed onto their translation. So when we read Ramban's 13 statements of faith,
That's Rambam.
Rambam's 13 statements of faith, we have two that seem to be one. We say, Ani ma'amin b'emunah shlema, I believe with full faith in Moses and his neviut, and Moses and his prophecies. And then you have right after that I believe in all the prophets were true, and that everything that they say that was true. Why do we need two different ones? And the answer is that the prophecy that Moses gives is perhaps the only prophecy that we get in which there is minimal or no influence of the speaker's character on the words that were given. Moses' level of detachment from himself, of abrogation of self,
Abnegation. Self-abnegation.
both. Abnegation of self is probably better. His abnegation of self allows him to clearly give Hashem's laws without putting his own character into it. And if you look at any other nevuah, it's always influenced by the person's surroundings, by the person's connections, and certainly in the concept of both Ramban and the writer of the Sefer being people who were forced during their lives to be refugees, we see the concept of being forced to leave your home is not necessarily something that's pleasurable, and I think that was a very interesting personal note that he puts in there, and yet we have to realize whenever we read a translation that we have to read it in context.
Wait a minute, Ramban.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't forced to leave his home. He went to Israel, but that was a conscious choice. He wasn't part of Gerus Farad. Is that you're not implying that? No,
When did he live?
He was earlier than that. He was in the 1200s.
He was
Gerus
no,
Farad,
he was
1492.
so he moved to Israel. Then he was forced from Israel to Egypt, and then I believe he came back. But he was forced out of Israel.
No, that part I didn't know.
But in any case,
But that's what we were
he
referring to.
is somebody who did have to separate himself from his environment in order in order to pursue another goal,
Right.
and that's I think the major comparison that we're trying to draw here. And we have yet another remark: the insignificant quote title of the Sidra Lech Lecha is nothing short of a parallel to Breshit Bara. What Breshit meant for spiritual man, a beginning for the Jewish people and Judaism. So
What is the insignificant title? I don't get it.
he's saying that the title is in fact not insignificant. That there is you have to
It's more
you
than
have
just
to,
being the first few words in the
it's
Parshat.
more than just the first few words. It is going to introduce the way that the world is going to be from here on in.
So shouldn't he have
So,
put those
Breshit-
quotation marks around insignificant rather than the word title? If he's really saying that, you know what I mean? You're saying that it's...
So he's saying that there is quite deep significance to calling it Lech Lecha, and the concept of Avraham extricating himself from the philosophy of the world at that time and espousing something different turns the world into a different place, just like Breshit Bara we created Yesh Me'ayin, turned nothingness into something. So this is again the idea of a sea change. So not only Lech Lecha, a turning point in the personal life of Avram between the past Lech and the future Lecha, but it also constitutes a revolutionary milestone in human thinking and concepts, which had an impact upon all mankind. So the introduction of monotheism again, which hadn't been the sole focus of man since Adam Arishon. Lech Lecha occupies a central position in the biblical alphabet, indicating the functionings of the eternal revolving wheel of events in the history of individual people, nations, governments, systems, etc. It is marked by ascendancy, culmination, descendants, and reascendance. Each segment is proportional to one another. So we see two letters next to each other being repeated and radiating from there outwards to influence everything else. So we're trying to draw on that concept. C. So we're gonna take Lech Lecha and again look for more significance in this. Go for you is an expression of dynamism and activity, trust and hope as fundamental advice of the Torah.
Why do you think he went to see there and he didn't continue it here? There's no significance.
I don't think there's significance
Good.
other than the way to make it fit on the page, but I'm not sure. I don't think something was omitted here, if that's what we're questioning about the blank space. So again, Avram is asked to do a positive act. He's asked to actually do a physical action to bring what he is going to bring into the world. It's not just a thought; it is actually something that he needs to actuate through an activity. D, Lech Lecha also indicates the laws of Torah, like V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, in the sense of by loving your fellow man, you will make him respond similarly to be like you. Azov tazovi or Azov tazovi mo. And again, here we are when the recipient responds with his own efforts to help him, like Lech Lecha, as the Yiddish proverb Mazel Nisht.
Under was McKenna nicht fallen by zero. Whatever.
No, he says what it is. You shouldn't expect more
Okay,
from others.
one shall not expect more from others than from himself. So again, Abraham has to lead.
It's not Mazel.
Right.
Zolnisch, Forten von Andrew, was McKennish,
What was that first? What's that word? Kennish. What's the next one?
Besonders andere, was mechanisch.
No, what's that word?
Forten.
That's the expect one. Okay, it doesn't. Okay, whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Why are we going to all this now? All of a sudden.
So because we're trying to take the name of the Parsha Lech Lecha, and we're trying to see all of the depth that is in fact within that name. So here we're trying to say that Avram's greatness also has to be expressed in his willingness to accept everything that he is going to impose on others, that he is going to do it himself, and then others will see that and learn by example. So he's not going to impose anything that he does not fully believe in himself. And Lech Lecha signifies initiative, e.g., harem et matcha unetei et yadcha. So again, here we see that it requires a positive act. It requires Avram to do something in order to make this philosophy come into the world, which leads to Vayar Yisrael Yad Hagdola. So, in order for the people of Israel to be the recipients of the splitting of the Red Sea, Moses has to actually do something. He can't just talk to God. He can't think it, and then it happens. Well, he can talk. Talking is a positive act. But he needs to do a physical act in order for something to be actualized in the world. And Lech Lecha, Avram getting up and leaving, physically going, physically taking his things, is something that allows him to be the one who brings again a different philosophy into the world. He's telling the world to leave their previous philosophy, so he has to be able to do it himself.
It's like Masa Avot Siman Lebanim, which is Ramban. Maybe he'll bring it up later.
He needs street cred.
Well, that was just like me. You moved to Israel and I'm sitting here, like what you pointed out.
Remember, there's something here very important. We grew up with that phrase.
Masa Avot Siman Lebanim.
No, Lech Lecha.
Right.
Yeah.
We think it's just a normal thing to say. It's an incredibly abnormal, I won't say abnormal, but it's
No, the Lecha part is.
He's not saying go, he's not saying
Going to
lean,
yourself or going to
he's
yourself.
not saying ride, he's not saying cross, he's saying lech. That in itself is something that's rather an unusual command to give to somebody.
No, it isn't. What's so unusual? The
Well,
Lecha is the unusual part.
The other way, also put the other way. We're so used to it that we don't realize how kind of unique and odd it is. Right? Why did he use that verb specifically?
Well, we see it in other places too. But there, I mean, lech is not such an unusual word. It's not such a darsheni. With the lecha, it makes it special more. It's lecha. Why did he need the lecha? But
And again, if
I've
we,
been telling you what I love
you
to
know, if it had been a different verb, if it had been shchon lecha, live for yourself there.
Lech lecha is the most. No, like when we do with bow, like you really not bow el paro, lech el paro. That's the famous one there.
Mhm.
And there you would expect. So the bow is very shady because you expect lech le paro. So lech lecha not so. I'm not putting the Torah down. I'm just saying. I know why you're so surprised. Lech is the word I would have expected him to use. The lecha is the one I would want to drush more. But they're together, so okay, we're drushing it.
All right, I think we're there. F. Lech lecha has a meaning of balance and proportion. According to invested efforts, lecha, one shall receive result. That's probably lech. Lech, one shall receive results. Lecha, something does not derive from nothing, in the sense of some cheerus, like the days of suffering. The concept here again is that there has to be personal involvement and personal effort in order for there to be personal gain. If you don't invest something in it, then you are unlikely to get benefit from it. G. Lech lecha may intend to discover one's own values while searching from others, as stated in the Polish saying, and we can just read the English. You praise others, not knowing your own. So again,
Is that what he's talking about? I don't think it's English.
No.
So don't so many languages. That's why. You praise others, not knowing your own. What does that mean?
Avram has to have a sense of who he is before he can give essence and thought and philosophy to others. So
We say that now all the time. But that you have to know yourself. You have to love yourself before you can with anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Lech lecha
So all he could be saying there is that you can't tell other people to move to Israel unless you've led by example. Can you just read, what was that one about the culmination and all that, ascendancy and all that? I don't remember.
Sorry, how far back are we?
B.
B. So what we're saying here is we're starting from the middle of the Aleph Beit and we're radiating out. We're going from there out.
Meaning the Lamed, referring to the Lamed?
Kaf Lamed
right.
in the middle of the alphabet.
Right. Oh, that's
and we're going to be immersed in the concepts, if you were, right in the middle, and we're going to let it flow out from that source. So Avram is going to be that source where he's literally in the middle of the philosophy, and he's going to let it radiate out from him to the rest of his generation and to generations from there on.
It could be
but it's a full revolution. Like it's not.
It's not Kaf Lamed, it's Lamed Kaf.
Right. So not only that. We're talking at his own time, and we're talking in relationship to from before and to after. We're talking in terms of time from before and after as well. So his efforts are going to radiate back in time because Shem and Aver are still around, and he is still going to be alive for many generations afterwards. So it's going to go through generations in terms of time. It's going to go through. It's going to go through people who he directly influences, and it's also going to be moving beyond his own lifespan and looking at things that were before him and still making them be there for people who are after him.
And he's getting that from the letters, the Lamed and Kaf, right? That's what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Right. And H, Lech lecha may be understood, Sur meira, Yaseh Tov. Lech, go, but Bakesh Shalom V'Radfehu, it is a duty for you to chase it when forced or commanded lecha over you. So here we're taking the lecha and we're saying it's not for your pleasure, it's because it's your duty, because it's something that you are you are commanded, you are not forced, because of the essence of who you are and your belief in the philosophy, you have to propagate it. And note, more meanings of Lech Lecha I leave to the individual reader. So again, we have to respect that this is something that conceptually needs to